Hey everyone, thanks a lot for joining us on the Rishi Report podcast SG60 special. Those of you who've been following our show for the past few years, you know that we typically take news and current affairs issues and we have some fun with it. We do some jokes about it. We take some of the headlines and we turn them into punchlines. That's what the Rishi Report has traditionally been about. Given it is SG60 year and given it's also election year, we thought we'd throw some politics into the mix. So on the show, I am going to have some guests who are perhaps aspiring political office holders, some independent political commentators, and also some existing political office holders. We have with us one such person in the studio today, and it's my real honor to introduce all of you to the Minister of Health, Mr. Ong Ye Kung. Actually, sir, you were telling me about his logo.
Your logo?
This logo, actually, the story is that, like I was saying, the barbers were all closed at the time where I gave the designers this photo. So this is actually me. It's not like some...
Also, you took a portrait, you give to the designer and they came out with Shah Rukh Khan.
They came up with a fake Shopee version. Shah Rukh Khan, so what to do?
Yeah, you should consider, keeping your hair long, go back to that look.
Nowadays, cannot really, bro.
Cannot really.
Now I feel like age is catching up. So people...
So long hair doesn't go well.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying just saying that it is nowadays the trend is more for cropped hairstyle. And also I was a military man.
Oh, were you?
Most of us are.
Okay. But were you a regular?
I was not regular. They didn't let me be. They were like, you are useless fellow. But I hold a very important position. I used to hold a very important position in my unit.
Okay.
I was the leave and ORD clerk.
Oh, very important.
Yeah, without me, people cannot survive, cannot go home, cannot complete their service.
You are the most popular guy in the unit.
I made a lot of friends in the military. But having said that, welcome to today's very special edition of the Rishi Report podcast SG60 special. I'm very honored to have the Minister of Health with us in the studio, Mr. Ong Ye Kung. Hey, how's it going, sir? How are you, man?
Good. Let me say hi to the camera. Hello.
You can, yeah? Your cam is this one, I think.
I'm the mic. Hi.
This is your single cam.
Hello. Hi.
And then that's the dual cam.
Okay.
Yeah. Get used to it. Yeah. Our budget, all we spend on the studio.
Okay. I'm still getting used to podcasts.
Yep.
This time around, running up to the election, I start doing podcasts. I find... I'm learning about it. Yep. I quite like the long form format.
Do you prefer it compared to other formats you do?
I would say between a news interview versus a podcast, I prefer a podcast.
Okay.
Because you can really speak. You can dwell, you can probe.
Yep.
You can probe, I can go deeper. And large audience are largely much more forgiving. Whereas you go on a TV interview or a media press interview, one wrong use of word and suddenly you kena.
The whole country is on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What
Here,
happened?
people are a lot more forgiving because you know the context and why are you saying that.
Here also, I'll tell you, my audience is a lot more forgiving because there's very few people watching. So we're hoping that increases. No, I'm joking. No. The good thing is...
I hope I bump your rates up.
Yeah. Actually, my numbers honestly got bumped up when you started following me on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
I won't lie,
Okay.
because we was doing some research.
You are one of the very few people I follow,
I'm honored.
Because
I don't know.
your comedy keep popping up on my FYP.
Is this true, really?
It's true.
Hey, well done, algorithm. Thank you very much for bumping me up. Because I was searching your TikTok feed when we were talking about trying to invite you as a guest on the show. And then I saw the thing. I'm like, follow back. Minister of Health following me. I haven't followed him back.
You must have told a few good COVID jokes. So I follow you.
Well, I won't lie. COVID was, of course, a difficult time.
Yeah.
But for creators, that was the only thing we could do, right? To try and create content and try and, make light of the whole crazy situation we were in.
Yes.
And this is well documented, but you are actually someone who came into a very interesting position during the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was Minister for Transport.
Yep.
Only for 9 months,
Okay.
And suddenly the Prime Minister then,
Yep.
Mr. Lee said, no, you go to health.
How does that work, if you don't mind me asking? Because at the ministry level, because I mean, you've had the pleasure or I don't know whether pleasure is the right word, but you've had the opportunity to be multiple ministers in multiple ministries in a very short time, right? It was education, transport, health, all within a few years.
Okay, but also because I was a civil servant before. So I actually been to many more ministries than that.
Right.
And so after a while, I suppose people know that this is a guy you throw into any ministry. He will somehow cling on and survive.
He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out.
Do you ever feel at your level also, right, that, alamak, kana arrow to go here suddenly, the world
Okay,
also...
I tell you, that feeling didn't happen for health.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll describe the feeling going to health later.
Okay.
But going to transport, yes, I had a feeling.
Oh, really?
Oh, kena transport. I'm at the mercy of a breakdown.
That means where the trains those issues were causing you a bit of stress, right? At that time.
Having said that, my predecessor was Mr. Corbin Wan, and he did a lot of difficult decisions, and the situation has stabilized. But when I go over, you still fear. Because no matter how good you are as a transport minister, you sometimes at the mercy of bad luck. Yeah. They say a breakdown is often a function of Swiss cheese, right? You line up Swiss cheese have holes, and sometimes you take 10 pieces of cheese, you line up, the holes happen to align. That's when a breakdown happens.
Wow.
Yeah? So it's just bad luck. Yeah. So indeed, a few months after I became transport minister, I had a big breakdown.
Okay.
Yeah, that was quite memorable.
You mean you had a breakdown as in
No, I didn't have a breakdown.
The trains had a breakdown.
The East-West line had a breakdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just clarifying. Straight away.
I was okay. The trains had a big breakdown. 150,000 people were walking on the viaduct. I was on my way driving to MPS.
Okay.
And unfortunately that day, I don't know what I ate. So I had an allergic reaction at the same time.
Oh dear.
Yeah, anaphylaxis. Then at the same time, I hear this breakdown. So everything happened at the same time. My first reaction, and I was at a traffic light junction, my staff texted me. I say, we have to apologize. People, when I get reports, people were texting me. People I know, some people I know happen to be stuck. Was walking on the viaduct saying, I'm walking on the viaduct, minister. I just want to let you know, a bit suffocating in here. We're trying to get out. I just feel very sorry. Why did this happen?
You were getting texts, you mean, like from people, like WhatsApp messages?
Yes. Some of my friends are there.
Dear. Okay, go on.
So I just told my staff, I think we need to apologize. And we need to recover quickly. Yeah, so that the message went out. At the same time, we knew next day there was exams. We've got to make sure the students can get to exams on time. We assure them buses will be there. We went out and I was very surprised. The response was so good. People say, this minister apologized, when something bad happens, and thereafter there was a lot of positive response to say that, it's good to acknowledge that things like that happen.
Yes.
But you do something about it to correct it.
And that is, I guess that is a value of yourself as a person and as a leader, right? That you acknowledge the mistake and then you work on it.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't thinking in those terms. Yeah, it was just something that I thought is human to do. I felt sorry. And we say sorry.
No, I think people appreciated that.
We weren't stuck that day, right?
Not that day. No. I don't recall being stuck that day. And in fact, I've been quite fortunate with my train journeys.
Okay.
I'm a TEL boy. So
TEL, very high reliability.
So far, okay. So far, in fact, and because my station comes one of the last, the last current one.
Which end?
At the Bayshore side.
Okay, not the Sembawang side.
No, but that is. We'll talk about your side as well. But because sometimes I take the last train home and empty. Like ghost town like that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of some of my early days in the military also.
Oh, but you asked about MOH. MOH, I didn't have that feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, MOH, I was just a bit surprised that after 9 months I have to move. It's so disruptive. But then I thought about it. Actually, this is a very good time to go to MOH. I have so many things I think I want to do about COVID. Yeah. In MOH, I was a bit frustrated because I really thought we need to reopen Changi Airport and let SIA fly the soonest. Because if we lose these two companies or infrastructure, Singapore will be different, imagine without Changi, or Changi is a shade of itself.
Yep.
Yeah, after COVID, or SIA, no longer is a national brand name that we are proud of. I think Singapore will be different.
I recall that you pushed quite hard for some of the travel bubbles. I believe
Yes,
it's
yes.
Hong Kong. We had one at the time.
Yeah. Well, it didn't succeed.
Yeah, it burst.
It burst
Yeah.
a few times, but at least we plant our flag to say that we are serious about aviation. Singapore must be an air hub. SIA must fly again.
Yeah.
Then I realized actually to really be able to do that, I need to go to Ministry of Health. Yeah. And somehow get out of COVID quickly.
If I had to ask you about what the biggest lesson is that you picked up from your tenure, especially during that trying period, what would that be? Your personal biggest takeaway?
For COVID?
Yeah. Not just for COVID, but being the Minister of Health during the pandemic.
Oh, it will still be COVID related. I think it was when we press a reset button and change all our rules with regard to quarantine and contact tracing. Yeah, because I went in and I kena the KTV wave.
The KTV wave.
Yeah, actually it's not a KTV wave. The KTV wave came from Jurong Port. Not Jurong Port, sorry. Actually, it is Jurong Port. Came from the Jurong Port wave. Yeah, where the fishmongers went to collect fish and they somehow got infected and they passed to folks who go to KTV.
You only learned that after the investigating.
After we did the
contact tracing.
Contact tracing and created the infection tree, then we realized actually it stemmed from Jurong Port now. Yeah. So at that time, our rules were so complicated, no? Who to quarantine, who to contact trace. It was so complicated that I think people are more fearful of our rules than they are fearful of the virus. So at that time, we press a reset button, redo all the rules, and we just boil down to 3 rules. Yeah, we call it Protocol 1, 2, 3. That's about it. And that taught me a very important lesson, which I think goes beyond COVID, which is always make sure our rules are simple enough so that the man in the street can participate and contribute. Yeah, don't always think that people don't know what to do and I must spell out every single rule in order to guide people's behavior. Actually, it's not true. I think Singapore is at the stage where we make our rules broad enough, people can exercise initiative. Will there be abuse and people who don't follow the rules? Of course there are. But never design our rules and policies to cater to those minority. Design our rules and regulations to cater to those who know what this is about and able to exercise responsibility.
And you feel like that's the majority of people in Singapore?
Great majority.
That is a very, very interesting point, sir, because it means that crisis, that national global crisis, taught you that actually Singaporeans no need to be babied so much in a way.
No need, absolutely no. That's a very important lesson. And even in peacetime, that should be our approach. But live with the fact that there's always a minority. And there will always be Singaporeans who say, what are you doing about that fella? Never follow. Government better do something about it. Sometimes we just have to say, sorry, I can't. Because if we come out with rules that catch that last fella, the rules wouldn't work for the majority. So like vaping. Vaping is one example. We ban vaping. We do what we can to enforce, but there are always people writing to me, Minister, I see this person vaping Orchard Road and behind specialist shopping center or something. What are you going to do about it? But we already banned.
Yeah, do they tell you like, Minister, here got one fella with the lychee flavor here, strawberry flavor?
The other fella has a watermelon. Yeah. But what to do, right?
I think in recent times, full credit to the authorities as well. I think HSA recently very quickly acted on a video that they saw online of someone vaping on the train.
Yes.
And immediately nipped it in the bud.
Yeah.
Moved quite fast.
So we do have to do that.
Did you discover any weakness about yourself that you felt like something you need to work on?
I don't think I discovered my weaknesses during COVID. But I always have weaknesses. I'm impatient. When I want something done, I can nag you. Quite impatient. Secondly, because I nag so much, I may have caused unnecessary stress for my staff. That's possible. Thirdly, I can be very honest. So what I say, what I see and feel, not everyone take it well. Yeah.
Some might argue that's also one of your biggest strengths. Like how you
this has become one of those employer interview questions.
No.
You ask what's your weakness, then you tell one weakness as actually a strength.
If I was your employer, this is the kind of place you're going to work. You're going to work in front of this fellow with the long hair and all that. Difficult lah. No. I think you're fine where you are. More importantly, what do you think is your biggest strength moving forth?
I get along with people.
Okay.
Probably. So I've been to many places, many ministries and organizations. Every time I leave, I got a good farewell. So I take it that,
they actually love you.
People don't mind me around.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. My staff has never given me a farewell.
You got enough staff now?
I don't know, man. I think my staff is too stretched. I think all the things you
must
mentioned.
Have enough staff to give you a farewell.
Nobody gave me farewell. How come? Now I'm questioning whether people like me or not. I want to change we'll come back to talking a little bit more about the current political climate in Singapore. You mentioned a little earlier about how elections are coming and all that, but I have a complaint from my family member actually. Is it okay if I share?
Okay.
Tell me, National Steps Challenge. Okay,
what's there to complain about that?
We changed the pattern a bit. This is part of your Healthier SG initiative, right?
Yeah, Health 365 as well. Yeah.
Health 365.
But it's part of Healthier SG.
I'll tell you what happened, okay? True story, sir.
Okay.
My mother-in-law was visiting and I was going out for a run, like I normally do. And she said, hey, you going for a run? Hey, do you have a watch? I'm like, yeah. I never take my watch also. So I wasn't clear why she's giving me her watch. I thought maybe, okay, so nice, mother-in-law being sweet to me, giving me a watch. And I go for a run, I come back, she asked me, can you give me the watch back? I said, why? She said, I want to clock in your steps for my own vouchers.
This is very, very resourceful.
Resourceful lah. So how do we...
Can I have the name and IC number of your mother-in-law, please?
This is the minority we need to deal with.
Exactly.
Oh, need to complain.
If we design the Health 365 system to try to prevent this kind of
abuse,
then the system is too complicated. Nobody will understand. By and large, the great majority do it honestly.
They're okay lah.
Yeah, they're okay. And in fact, I think about 20% of our health points are never redeemed.
Really? Yeah.
So after all these clocking and then being happy, shocked that I got all these points, people don't redeem.
Forget about it.
Yeah, they just want to accumulate the points. I don't know about your mother-in-law. Maybe she let it lapse.
No. She use it for a $10 voucher. I know, because she sent me, thank you, beta. Got it. No. It's just I think.
Having said that, I did see one auntie walking along the green corridor. She got 4 phones in her pocket now.
Wow.
2 at the back pocket, 2 at the side, holding one. Yeah.
So all the whole family's phones you just kapok.
She's probably doing a favor to everybody. Yeah.
That's
but
that's good. That's how
long as they are exercising. Yeah. And
You mean the phones? So long as your phones are exercising. No, but you know what they say, a family that collects steps together stays together.
Yeah.
That's the important message. The other thing I wanted to ask you, I read on the HPB website, right, about kind of adjusting the cultural dishes to healthier alternatives. I don't know if you've seen some of these. There was a tagline that lose the calories without losing the cultural connection. And along with that, they introduced us to brown rice biryani.
Brown rice biryani.
Brown rice biryani.
Got such thing.
Got such thing. For this, my family was a bit confused. Like, brown rice biryani? Where got
HPB,
nice?
are you sure or no?
That is what I read. It's a bit. This is a bit older.
Who sent older? Okay.
A bit older. Maybe before your time. I want to say it's pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, they would send these menus on the website, suggestions.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So when I saw...
They send physical copy to you?
No. I mean, you click on the website and there's a PDF lah.
If you search now, still have?
I saw before our interviews.
Brown rice.
But old. Maybe I want to say...
Why need brown rice? Just you eat with basmati rice. Already low GI.
That is what I say.
It's already low GI. Right?
Yeah, that's why.
Huh?
So the brown people are like, no need brown. in my family at least. That one I get very my family.
Okay, once I had brown rice, chicken rice. Oh, damn moody,
Cannot, right?
Cannot. My view is this.
Yes.
If you are generally healthy like me, probably like you, actually we can eat anything.
in moderation.
Just in moderation.
I read-
So if I really like chicken rice, I don't eat it so often.
Yeah.
But each time I eat, I always overconsume the rice. So if I do, then at night I go easy on the rice. You know, I don't eat chicken rice one whole week, you know. Yeah, so just in moderation, moderate.
But cannot mix, right? Cannot mix all this cultural stuff. Sometimes I think authenticity is very important.
It's a bit odd to say it's brown rice biryani, yet stay connected with your culture.
Yeah, I think this was my mother thought it's a scam. It's like, hey, where got brown rice biryani? Hey, you trying to scam me, boy? I don't know, but I just tell you that one we reject, lah.
Okay,
That one-
I'll go and check. I'll go and check.
that one we double check.
We should update that.
I hear also that you are a Star Wars fan. It's again no secret.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I am. But you know, I'm gradually less interested now.
Why?
Because once they bought by Disney, all these shows came up. Is the quality control is not as good. Yeah.
The original
Original
in the 70s, the
trilogy is the best.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
If there was one character, I don't know if anybody asked you this before, but given your journey in Singapore, if there was one character from the show that you resonated with more so, that kind of
Yes, the
represents
question
it.
has been asked before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
when I went on CNA, the assembly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they asked you on the
The
assembly.
neurodivergent group was very interesting.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of their earliest questions. They say, which character you resonate with? I said Darth Vader. Hasn't changed.
Why?
Okay, my answer was Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those who are aware of the
the same
franchise,
person.
you will know that it's the same person.
He's
Yes.
the father. Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because of the duality. Yeah. So I find that fascinating. The whole show actually is about fatherhood, right? Yeah. The Jedi, the Chewbacca, all these are distraction. It's about the relationship between the father and the son and how the father from good become bad, bad become good and redeem himself. You know? So I find that the central thrust of the story.
Yes.
The central thrust of the story revolving around Darth Vader. Yeah.
Wow, you really opened up the question to. But you say this because you feel that is your story and your relationship with your father?
No, not so profound.
No, I thought you are like leading me into this discussion about your history.
No, I watched Star Wars, New Hope, probably when I was primary 2.
Okay.
1976, right? 76 or primary 1. Yeah, I was just fascinated by the story. Yeah, then I watched Empire Strikes Back. Wow, I became the father. So just fascinated by it.
Okay. Nothing. That one.
Not so profound.
That one all maybe need to have a professional therapist around before we go dig deep into those issues.
But since you brought this up, I think that duality is interesting. In some way, it reflects yourself, right? All of us.
Yep.
We all have a duality. We love this, yet we hate this. We want this, yet we don't want this, you know? Yeah. Don't we all go through those
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I think...
you talk about, let's say I'm in government. Why did I come into government? Why do I decide to become a minister and participate in politics? Because I think there are things I don't agree with, I want to change. Yeah. So I think I should come in.
Yep.
Do I come in because I agree 100% with what the PAP government is doing? Answer is no. If I agree 100%, I don't find a point of coming in. I come in because I feel I can make a difference and then make some changes.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a duality. You agree, yet you disagree.
That's a very interesting point, sir. How did you deal with policies or directives or ideas that you disagreed with when you were maybe earlier on in your career?
You must first understand.
Yes.
Why is this policy in place? And I think for this government, all policies are there for a reason. And probably through history, for a very good reason, is there. But circumstances change. And then somebody got to be able to look at it and have the courage to say, I need to revisit this. It's time to evolve. But you got to respect why it was there in the first place. And from that as a foundation, talk to people who are stakeholders with this policy and then evolve it.
Did you face any kind of pushback when you try to propose new things?
There always will be. But I think you can always reason it through. And that is what I like about my job. Yeah. So if I feel that there's nothing I can do, then why do I do this, right? If I agree 100%, I don't need to do this. You know, if I find that there's nothing I can do, don't need to do this. And I'm doing this because I can disagree. I can try to evolve things. and then yet able to work through. As people say, politics is the art of the possible.
Mm. Mm. And you make it, you try to make sure that you're, at least you reach a point where you are able to, in a way, would you say sell it to the people that need to come on board?
Yeah, using data, using evidence. But starting point is you recognize and you understand why it's there in the first place. Streaming, for example, is worked on by Minister Heng Swee Keat, DPM Heng Swee Keat.
You're talking about streaming within the primary schools?
Secondary.
Secondary school, okay.
Primary already gotten rid of.
Right.
So streaming was one example. It was around for 40 years for a very good reason. Because if you don't stream, you mix the kids together, half the class don't understand. They switch off. So you stream them, and when you teach at least same level, they're more likely to absorb. But over time, then it creates the problem of social segregation within the school, right? And kids start to have self-esteem issues if they're on the lower stream.
Yep.
Yeah. So we decide to now stream at the subject level. So we understand why this was done, and for very good reason. But we can now do it in a more refined way, stream at the subject level. Different people, different students are strong in different subjects. Yeah. When you stream at the subject level, then you don't need streaming at the course level. Right? So I can do higher level English for this, lower level math for this, and then medium level for history.
Yep.
Right? So you don't have that stigma of being in the stream. But we take through the logic.
Yep.
With the ministry officials, with my colleagues, with my bosses, and then we are able to implement it.
Is there data? I mean, because I know you're a data guy. I know you believe in that. Is there data that suggests that, there has been improvement in self-esteem levels or, stigma from society after the streaming process has been changed?
Yes, I've seen that.
Okay.
I've seen that. Now, when you survey a kid, in the past, for a kid in a certain stream, who are your best friends? All from the same stream, right? Now, when they say who are my best friends, it's all over. It's all over. Yeah. Every teacher I meet in secondary school teacher I meet, I always ask them, how is the subject-based bending? This is what has replaced streaming.
Right.
How is it going? Most of them will say tougher, busier, scheduling more complicated, but worth it. When I conduct my class now, especially those classes, the non-academic class, they are not streamed, because now form classes is a mix of different kinds of students. They always say it's much more interesting. Arts classes, music classes, it's just a lot more interesting.
Because there's a
diversity,
more diverse mix of
people
students.
with different backgrounds, all contributing.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's a really good example. I would just share that I was in my alma mater a few days back to give a talk.
What school was that?
This was actually the same school as PM Wong. It was a Tanjong Katong boy.
Okay.
Yeah. So they couldn't get PM Wong, so they sent me instead.
Not the bad substitute at all.
I think they want to show that, okay, you can either become Prime Minister or you can become Joker. Which one you want? Okay. I want to invite you to join me in changing things up a little bit.
Okay.
Because traditionally on this show, The Rishi Report, we like to do some jokes about the news, and we also teach the audience about what some of the current headlines are, some local, some regional, some global. It really depends on what the team of accomplished, unemployed, and broke comedians has come up with. Okay, so we're going to see some headlines. There's two versions of this activity we're going to do together. We're going to blank out a certain part of this headline, and you and I can fill in the blanks with whatever we think is funny, is fun, doesn't have to be correct. It can be ridiculous.
Have you seen them?
I'm going to see them right now together with
so
you.
Your first time seeing, also my first time seeing. Okay.
Yes. But the second part of the game is this one I have seen. I will show you some images of world leaders, right? And you have to tell me your first reaction. Cannot hold back. Must be your first word or your first reaction that comes to mind. And I love this game because you might have met these people at some point in a summit, or you might be meeting them soon. I don't know.
If it's not a good word, I just keep quiet.
Okay, up to you. I let you use your discretion. Since you say you are the kind that everybody throw you good farewell parties, so can't be like people don't like you. Don't worry. Okay, let's try the first headline, please. Okay. This one is from where? Do we know? Okay, so an Los Angeles to China flight has been delayed because
they ran out of Kung Po chicken.
ran out of Kung Po chicken. Hey, not bad, you know this? Yeah. Hey, I don't know what the correct one is. We'll find out.
Only the people in LA eat Kung Po chicken.
Is that true? I think LA China flight delayed because the US still owes China money.
Okay.
Do you think so?
They do.
They do, right? They do, right?
They do
still
quite a lot.
Quite a lot of money, yeah.
Okay.
Because what else do you think? Because I don't know.
Oh, you mean got more answers than that?
You can give a couple more if you
exhausted already.
Exhausted already, yeah. I think it's because really there was a traffic jam at the airport. I don't know. I've read that before. But you know what? Let's find out what the correct answer is, please. Pilot forgets passport. Are you serious?
Hey, this is also very funny, you know.
Are you? No, but is this the real headline? That means the pilot forgets the passport. Has that ever happened to you?
No. Oh, actually, I don't know. I've been in flights where
Delayed.
where it's delayed for a long time.
But they never tell you the real
Yeah,
reason.
it could be the pilot forgets passport.
This was where The Guardian. What airline was this? Can you tell? Is it
10th of February.
United Airlines? Oh, wow. United Airlines. See lah, can happen this kind of thing also. Okay, hopefully, I think...
Technically, the pilot don't check out lah. They hang around the transit area, then fly back. Don't need passport, right?
Forget passport. That means maybe it was a layover where they had to check out of the...
Yeah.
Because quite a long flight, LA to China.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We will learn the details. Okay, now, next thing, this one, I'm going to show you an image. Okay, we're going to do a couple of images.
Okay.
This is someone I'm quite sure you would have seen in the news before. First word that comes to mind when you see this world leader. This is...
Bearded.
Wow, you really sidestepped that one.
Oh, you know why?
Why?
Because I've been looking at you.
You've been looking at me?
Yeah.
And you think I look like this guy?
No, you got this beard that's growing, not growing. No, so when I see his is grown, so I thought bearded lah.
For those of you who are listening in on the Spotify, this is Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine and Minister of Health. I just said that I remind him of this guy. Also, but by the way, this guy used to be a comedian before.
Yes.
And then now he's in politics.
Yes. He had a show where he became the president.
And how art imitates life imitates art.
Yeah, and he came straight into a war. It's
challenging. Do you think there's a space for comedians in politics in Singapore?
I think there's space for any kind of talent. I don't think comedians are not to be taken seriously, you know. Most comedians, I love watching stand-up comic, by the way.
Oh, really? Do you have favorites? Do you mind sharing?
Trevor Noah.
Okay, nice.
I like, actually, what's his name? McIntyre.
Michael McIntyre.
Michael, huh?
Oh, wow, okay.
Michael McIntyre, he's just making fun of daily occurrences.
Two very different acts, actually, you mentioned.
Acts, but there are so many who actually have very serious conviction and messages. And they are able to deliver it in a fun way lah.
I think, like you mentioned, Trevor Noah is one of them.
Yeah, he's
definitely
one of them. Yeah, he has very serious messages. Yeah,
I think even
he tells his jokes, but there's a knot. Yeah, see, I'm talking about this.
Even so, for example, Ronnie Chieng from The Daily Show. I don't know if you follow. Right, former, Malaysian boy, studied in Singapore, recently became a US citizen. Finally.
Oh, he gave out his Malaysian passport.
He's a US citizen as of a few days ago. It was well documented on The Daily Show.
I see.
So it's very interesting. Like you say, comedians seem to have something to say always. And this guy, like you said, thrust into a very precarious situation, almost like you were many years ago during the COVID.
Although I'm not a comedian.
You got some jokes, bro. Don't worry. We appreciate them. Okay. One more person, one more world leader I'm going to show you. Don't hold back, sir. Tell me what you think when you see this person. Oh, boy. That's my voice.
Pissed off.
Donald Trump, my friends.
That's two words.
Donald Trump is the image we showed, Minister Ong Ye Kung, and those were his genuine reactions. Like a lot of people in the world right now. Right? Everybody is a little bit miffed about what has been going on with the tariff situation, I'm guessing.
It is very worrying. Very worrying. It can mean a very different world. Yeah, but it comes from the fact that I think it comes from the fact that Americans start to feel that why are we paying all these costs for the world?
Do you think it's really Americans, or is it just the Trump administration?
Without Americans feeling like that, how would President Trump win the election? So obviously, he could articulate the unhappiness from Americans, especially after GFC, a global financial crisis.
Right.
There's really a stagnation of pay, of standard of living. And so people are really getting a bit skeptical, very skeptical, in fact, about globalization, about immigration. So somebody must be at fault, must be the rest of the world. Why am I in this position? Right? And here comes along somebody who share that unhappiness, and looking pissed off with the rest of the world, with specific partners, and put forward an agenda that people got behind, and he got elected. Yeah.
I mean, this is a bit tricky, but like you said, or we can perhaps just understand a bit better. Do you think the US is a functioning democracy given what has happened, given that there's a re-election of a second term of Donald Trump, given he's taking these drastic decisions worldwide that is effectively launched the world into a stock market plunge, potential trade wars globally? Does that mean that it's a broken democracy? Or does that mean that it is functioning? Is that what is supposed to happen?
The view of some people that democracy as a whole is broken. American democracy is broken.
Words like protectionist are being mentioned in terms of tariffs. I think we are being told that we need to brace for impact even here in Singapore. How serious are these tariffs, and how much do Singaporeans need to be concerned about it, in your opinion?
I was a trade negotiator.
Yes.
For 5 years. I worked very closely with, at that time, my minister was George Yeo. My immediate boss, the chief negotiator, is Tommy Koh. And we worked very closely to seal the US-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. So trade is an area I can talk a lot about, but I don't want to bore too many people. Given what has happened, as a trade negotiator, I am very concerned because this is not how free trade is conducted. In the past, when free trade is conducted in such an arbitrary manner, there were wars because the rules are not clear. It's a bit like back to the days when Singapore is full of triads, and the triads have territory. Well, in my territory, this is where I do business. That one has the other territory. When our territory overlap, we fight. So those were the days when there are no clear rules. That's when you fight. Countries conquer another country in order to gain resources, right? But then when you get rid of illegal activities, you now have a transparent set of rules. You want to do business, whatever it is, you tender. Transparent rules, you tender, you win, you do business, nobody kacau you. The law will protect you to do your business, right? And then you pay your taxes, you hire your people. So this is a bit like free trade. Then people will find, okay, there's a set of rules where we can coexist and do well together. That
and you feel safe to invest. You feel like there's some kind of stability.
So that is essentially the free trade regime that we see today. This move by the US has just upended this whole thing, turned it upside down. Moving forward, next few months, year or two, I think is quite critical. Which direction is the world pointing towards? You really don't want a world where you're back to rules that are not clear, uncertain. Where the might is right. Then small country like us will really suffer. But if we can somehow correct costs, and again goes back to my faith in American people and their check and balances, can they bring things back to an even keel? And then we have again a reasonable set of rules to work on. It won't be the same as before.
Sure.
Some things will have changed. But at least I think we need the, by and large, global settled set of global rules for trade.
Do you, when you say that in the near future it might be difficult times, we might a small country like us might suffer, for example, what does that mean for someone who's living in Singapore? Like, okay, for example, does it mean that our cost of living goes up further? Does it mean that
logically no?
Okay,
logically no. I don't think we are looking at a potential inflation crisis. Logically, but anything can happen.
Sure,
because with tariffs and retaliatory tariffs, what happens is that consumption has to drop because prices in these countries that impose tariffs on imports, the tariff get passed on to your own people.
Yep.
So Americans will find that many of their goods are going to cost more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something that people, maybe the Americans themselves, don't fully understand.
Start to realize very soon.
Right. That their goods and services are going to go up.
Because
in
everything
price.
that comes in, the importer have to pay a tariff, right? And if China retaliate, things are going to be more expensive in China. Yeah. So therefore, in Singapore, we have always been very tariff-free. Yeah. We only have tariffs on 4 items. Beer, stout, samsu, medicated samsu.
What is the thing? Samsu.
Samsu. I never knew what it was.
I didn't know. I still don't know.
Being a trade negotiator for so long, I never knew what it was. And then I'm digressing. Huh?
No, go ahead.
And I talked about it in Parliament to say there are only 4 items. And actually, I said in Parliament, I don't know what Samsu is. Then one of the MPs, an NMP, sent me a bottle of Samsu and said, this is a Samsu. Okay. It's a cheap liquor, that workers and coolies used to drink.
From where does this get imported? Samsu.
I don't know, I got to check the bottle.
Let's check. Oh, sorry. Okay. We will fact check that one before we anyhow say.
So I digress. I digress. But where was I?
You were telling us about whether Singaporeans will actually suffer.
So long as we don't retaliate with higher tariffs, actually our prices are not affected. What are countries worried about now? Because when demand drops because of tariff, there's overproduction capacity. And the goods produced got to go somewhere. So actually in places like Europe and other places, they are worried about dumping of cheap goods into their markets. So this is actually one of the more immediate impacts. So we may actually see very good deals coming our way, goods that are produced but cannot be sold because of tariffs.
This is a short-term potential impact.
But it's a short-term high. I think the next impact will be trade volume comes down. When trade volume comes down, you find that businesses is basically bad. Yeah, including companies here. Although we are subject to 10% tariffs, we provide lots of services and we provide intermediate goods and components to trade between US and China and EU. And all these businesses will be affected. Then third, when businesses are no good, then investments will slow down. So this is not likely, logically, this is not likely to be a potential inflation crisis. This is potentially a jobs and investment crisis.
That's what we've been reading as well. I'm going to bring you to our final headline. This is a very important headline.
We're still on this, huh?
One more before we go into the next part of the discussion. This headline, they told me it mentions someone we know. Can we have the headline, please? And this says, Ong Ye Kung says he expects blank. Wow, this one you got to read. No? Wow, you said already they quote you in the news while you're doing this, you're doing that. This was from the Straits Times, I believe, right? From ST.
Recently, yeah?
Recently, I think, yeah.
Okay, but I'm not supposed to guess what is the real thing.
You tell me what you...
Ong Ye Kung says he expects thundery showers for the next 2 weeks.
Wow, weatherman. Ong Ye Kung says he expects nothing. He just wants to serve. This is going to be your political slogan. I expect nothing. I'm just here to serve you. Very good. I think this is half joke, but half could be real. Ong Ye Kung says he expects you to eat less salt in your food.
Oh, that's true. Huh?
That's true, right? You do, right? You do. You've been pushing that agenda, so to speak.
Yes.
Actually, you got no agenda except, hey, you all better eat less sodium.
And he expects, Ong Ye Kung says he expects biryani to be cooked with basmati rice.
Basmati. It's no brown rice biryani. Brown rice biryani is a scam, folks. Ong Ye Kung says he expects you to follow him on TikTok, otherwise you won't be happy about it. Have you reached, you already cleared your 100K milestone, right? Have you? For TikTok? Yeah.
Actually, I don't know.
Can
I check?
You can check, of course. No, doesn't. I mean, your social media team should know about this, I guess.
My TikTok, yeah, 103.8.
Well done, man. Congratulations.
Okay, I didn't know it crossed 100K.
It's a good milestone.
Yeah.
You've done well.
Okay.
Let's see what the real headline is. I'm curious to know. I suspect it's election related given what?
Yeah, this was...
Expects a 3-way contest in...
Yeah, this was today's papers. Actually, I remembered.
Okay.
3-way contest. Yeah, okay.
Let's talk about that. For the final segment of our conversation. Everybody for the past few months, I meet anybody, sir, everybody will tell me, hey, election coming, ma. And they give that as an excuse for anything, you know. Like, I say, oh, Mr. Wee, today, heavy rain. Of course, brother, election coming, ma. You don't know, man. I say, what does that have to do with the rain? But everybody's talking about it. Everybody on the ground is, you know, and you have also been active in your campaigning. In Sembawang, which you've been serving in for
10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
What is it like for you, election season? Does it get stressful for you? Does it detract from the public service work that you are doing?
It does take away a lot of time. Everything suspend, and you focus on election, and then the substantive work has to take place after the election. Yeah.
Is this an aspect of your job that you are okay with? Do you like it? Do you feel a bit, no choice?
Well, no choice. It's just something that has to happen because for us, every 5 years must apply for the job. Just tell your voters, I'm applying again, so please vote for me so I can continue the job. Yeah.
To get the mandate of the people.
Yes, but actually it's essential. Do I enjoy campaign? Actually, not really.
No.
I enjoy doing the policy, rolling out, explaining to people, and seeing things change. This is what gives me the high of being a minister. The actual hustle and bustle and the hustlings is the less pleasant part of the job.
It's the necessary evil in a way.
Absolutely necessary. Why did I become a politician instead of a civil servant? Right? Both are public service.
Yes.
Yeah. The difference is the mandate. Makes a huge difference. My mentality as a civil servant versus my mentality as a minister is entirely different.
Tell me how?
The civil servant basically say, Minister, what you want me to do? And then you get guidance. And then you say, Minister, I will make this suggestion, can or not? And Minister sometimes say, yes, no, it's okay. You are the master. Yeah. Then you just follow. But you realize that you want to make big changes. You want to, you say you have a different view about a certain old policy that has good reason to be around, but you want to evolve it. Not so easy as a civil servant. As a minister, it's different. Because you go to the people and say, I'm applying for this job because I want to make changes. Yeah. And you see what I've done, seen what I have done, I want to do more of it, vote for me. Yeah. And when you get that vote, you have a mandate. And that mandate basically gives you the courage to say that actually I can make changes. To me, that's a very different mindset.
That is a very, very profound point, right? It's not just about getting the job, but it gives you the courage to move forth and make significant changes for the people who have elected you.
Approval from the people that they empower me to make the changes. Yeah. So when I have a conversation with civil servants, and it's very learned, very good civil servants, actually I know this difference. And they also understand this difference, that I'm the one with the mandate. I need to make a judgment. You may disagree, but I'm making a judgment here because I got the mandate. Right? And the good civil servants will understand. And they will try to say, okay, I understand your mandate now, but how about changing it this way? You will make things better, and you take in those views. Yeah. So that's how civil servants and politicians work together. Yeah.
Is that a natural progression though?
No,
you feel?
It's not a natural
Not everybody.
Not everybody. I think I know many good friends of mine who are still in service. They don't want to be in this political business. Yeah. They are very capable. But their forte is to be able to implement things well, to improve things. But to make changes is not everyone's cup of tea.
Is politics a dirty word?
No. Politics is the art of the possible. It's not a dirty word. Yeah. But politics can be dirty. Yeah. But politics itself is not a dirty word. But the process of politicking can be dirty. Right?
Does that exist in Singapore, you think, in our political climate?
Now with internet, things can get unpleasant, but I wouldn't say it's dirty like many other countries where crimes, money, corruption money are all involved. For us, is we take jabs. Well, you see,
fair game, you say. Still fair game here.
Fair game, but I would definitely say sometimes tactics don't go overboard. Politics is most healthy and most fair to the people when it's a contest of ideas, right? So you may disagree each other's ideas. You may think the idea is stupid, you know. but at least it's a contest of ideas. You see it like sports. Rugby is rough and dirty. After a rugby game, the rugby players are full of mud, scrap. They scrape here, scrape there.
Yep.
But it's okay to be dirty like that, right? Because that's the name of the game. You look at the tackles, you look at the falls, and this is it. This is transparent. If I don't like this tackle, referee cry foul. Referee blow the whistle, foul, penalty, right? And so things are transparent. Rough, dirty, but transparent. Referee can say, you can't do this. Water polo is a different game. Water polo is more rough than rugby. What happens under the water, you cannot see. And everybody come out of the water all very clean, all in the water. Yeah. But so I don't think politics should be like water polo, where so many things happen underneath and it's not transparent.
Okay.
Right. So I think even it's inevitable that politics can be rough, can be sometimes dirty, but at least make it transparent. This is what you're doing. The public can call out to say, actually, we don't like this kind of politics.
So you're saying that in that analogy you described, the public is like the referee in a way?
Definitely. Ultimately, politics basically means, in the democracy, basically means ultimately the people decides on everything.
Your first election, 2011, if I'm not wrong. Take us back to that time. I mean, you obviously, it's been quite some time. Now you can say you're a seasoned campaigner, but your first one, how did that go down? How did it make you feel when you were out there?
Yeah. 2011. Kanchong spider.
Aljunied, right?
Yeah. It was very green, very kanchong, not sure what to do. Don't understand politics very well. Yeah. I just follow around thinking that if I follow my seniors, things will be all right. Right?
Yep.
I don't dare to voice my views very much. So I remember, so I decided to be helpful. So every time my seniors, George Yeo, Lim Hui Hua, Zainal Abidin, Cynthia Phua, when they, after a market visit, they will do a doorstop. So I thought my value add is whatever they say, especially that time, George Yeo, whatever he said, I just translate to Chinese.
Oh, that was, you were translating.
I'll use Chinese and explain one more time.
Okay.
So that was my value add then.
Interesting.
But it was very green and it was a very difficult ground. Yeah, people were angry in Aljunied. And I had a root shock, not quite sure how to deal with it. Yeah. When people say something, you're not quite sure how to reply.
You mean when you're on your walkabouts and people respond to you?
People keep asking you, why should I vote for you? And you're not quite sure how to reply. And you try to reply like a civil servant, they say, I'm not interested.
That's interesting. So back then you felt that way, but now in your current position, do you still get that question? Like, hey,
no,
Mr. Health, why should I vote for you?
No, you don't.
Now you don't.
Now I have an answer for everything.
Now you have an answer for everything.
Well, I remember 2011.
Please carry on. Well, this is, to me, that's very interesting, right? Because if I was put in a position where I'm going into a potential area where, like you say, you're trying to win the mandate of the people, you're trying to convince them that you can actually do something good for them. They say, vote for you for what? For what? What are you going to do? You can do anything? Huh? What? Tell me now. And then you're just like, I'm not sure.
What did I sign up for? Why like that?
why is everybody so hostile?
No, I remember at that time, 2011, and it was under a lot of pressure. So, of course, I'm not that happy. But my volunteers, whenever I'm on camera, they keep saying, smile, smile. And I was thinking, what's there to smile? I'm under so much pressure. But now you learn to be smiley. Whatever pressure there is, it's okay. No, you can't take it.
Is it part of the territory of being statesmanly? Part of the job?
I think it's psychological. That psychologically, you are a lot more ready to be a politician.
Do you feel like your social media work and your work as a public servant, is that something that you find challenging to juggle? Because, I mean, you're obviously one of the more active ministers out there on social media.
I think they reinforce each other. Yeah. There was this frame, right? Are you a conviction politician or a TikTok politician, right?
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, you've heard of it. Good.
Yeah,
Please
I
share.
heard of it. Was it Leon?
I think it was, MP, former MP Leon Pereira.
Yeah. I debated him a couple of times in Parliament. It's a bit chim, huh? This frame. But actually, it's a false dichotomy. You take, for example, I ask you, conviction politician. What's the opposite of conviction?
No conviction means no belief, no...
Apathetic.
Apathetic, yeah.
Maybe apathetic, ambivalent.
Yeah. Ambivalent, yeah.
So the contrast is a conviction politician versus an apathetic politician, right? Not TikTok. You won't say what's the opposite of conviction? TikTok. Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So the insinuation is that it's either you believe in something, you have a conviction, or you are too busy trying to earn followers on TikTok. That's the dichotomy that's being presented.
So actually, it's a false dichotomy because convictions, the opposite of conviction is not TikTok, right? So if you are a conviction politician, when you say something with so much conviction and you start persuading people, and people start following you, you will appear on TikTok with a lot of followers. And politicians worth their salt will say, "Oh, I set up an account." Because it will appear that when I say something with my conviction, people believe me and wants to follow me.
Yep.
So conviction leads to TikTok followers. Vice versa. On the other hand, if you are so successful on TikTok and you're a politician, you must be saying something good, right? Yeah.
That is connecting with your audience.
Yes.
Whatever your audience may be.
And you must be saying it with conviction, right? So I find them being reinforcing rather than being a dichotomy, right? So the fact is this, all politicians got their conviction.
Yep.
You cannot be an ambivalent politician. Yeah. And once you have that, as I mentioned before, if you're a politician with conviction, of course you want a social media game. Yeah, every politician must master the median of their time. And now it's TikTok, it's IG. I'm still struggling, by the way. But you just have to learn how to use those medium.
Yep.
And if you one sign of using that median well is that people start to criticize you. If you are a good politician, you use TikTok, and after that, nobody ever make any comment about your TikTok. Nobody ever criticize you. It means you are too conservative. Because it's such a new medium. You got to try out new things.
Yep.
You got to try the meme sometimes. You try a sound sometimes. You got to try a trend sometimes. And people will criticize why you do that, huh? Yeah.
You know,
that's when you know that I probably am getting the balance right.
That's actually a very good point, because when I first started out in entertainment and I started putting out content, there was a point where it tipped and I started getting haters. I started getting death threats even from Pakistan and all that, because I used to do some cultural content. Okay. And one of the more senior comics, he advised me, he said, Rishi, if you're getting haters, that means you are probably doing something right.
That's right.
And I think that applies to your situation as well.
Yes, as Taylor Swift say, haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate.
You just gotta take it in your stride. Yeah.
This is interesting to me, that you've got some sort of strong following that is in line with your convictions on TikTok. Would you say that a lot of first-time voters are probably getting exposure to politics because of your TikTok presence in a way? Like, you're connecting to a lot of young voters, I'm guessing.
Are they? I don't know.
Perhaps first-time voters, even 21 years old?
I do get quite a number of people, including young people, who come up to me and say, I saw your TikTok. And then give me some feedback, sometimes good, sometimes maybe not so good. But whatever it is, they are noticing it. Yeah.
Is there something you feel that young voters should be aware of in this upcoming general election? If it's their first time voting, for example. Is there something you would, caution them about? Is there something you would give them some general advice about? I remember being very apathetic, to use a word that you were sharing earlier. Actually, you lured me into a false sense. So before we started, you said, my English not very good. Then suddenly, ambivalent, apathetic, I need to Google.
These are the 2 4-syllable words I know.
So when I was a younger person, I was actually very politically apathetic. This is one of the reasons I do this show, because I'm trying to get Singaporeans a bit more involved, a bit more aware, and to understand a little bit more about our current political climate, and to actually convince them that politics is not a dirty word. It's okay. You need to know. You need to learn.
Yeah.
So is there something you feel young voters need to know?
I would say many young people, actually not just young, no, most Singaporeans now, they feel, I think there are 2 big issues in this election. Number one is what's happening externally. Yeah, it's a quite uncertain situation. I personally, as a trade negotiator, I'm quite worried. Second is that actually, and this is a trend since 2011, when I first came into politics, which is that actually people want an opposition. They feel Singapore society, Singapore democracy is mature enough for us to have more voices in parliament and with a presence of opposition. Actually, I agree with that view.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Singapore, for a small country, it probably works best that we have a good government, good majority, can get things done, can adapt, can be agile, and credible and competent. But at the same time, with an opposition presence as a check and balance, so that the two creates an equilibrium. What is the equilibrium? I think we will need to find out. But it will look something like that, where you have a competent government with a good majority, but it knows that it cannot be so dominant, just push every idea through. It will have pushback, and check and balance will be exercised by the opposition. Yeah.
Do you think we are there now in the current state of
I think
parliament?
we are still seeking our equilibrium. We are still seeking our it's a national effort, and I don't think you can find out over one election. Yeah. But at the same time, you have an opposition presence that is not so huge that the opposition feels that I can paralyze the current government so that it performs badly. Yeah. So opposition will always do that if they are big enough, but it is not so big. So that it has to be a constructive opposition, a loyal opposition. Yeah, but when disagree, it will say so. But when there's nothing to disagree about, there's no need to oppose for the sake of opposing. And in a crisis, it will join ranks with the government. Rather than saying that this is overblown and this is to instill fear. So I think you want that kind of outcome, which probably is the best for Singapore. Yeah. What is the equilibrium? We will find out. I don't think there's any magic number.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think there's magic number.
It's almost like you say, it's like a vibe, like you feel, right? Like, hey, this feels right at this point.
It feels right. Yeah, the balance is there. The equilibrium is reached.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think in every election from now on, opposition presence is a given. There is no chance that there will be a wipeout. No chance. I mean, some opposition was BAP may win back, but then at the same time, you may lose others. So just like Potong Pasir, we won back, but then Sengkang, we lost. Opposition presence is a given. But now I think it's an exercise of the nation coming together, being very thoughtful about it. What is the equilibrium? So I think this must be on young people's mind. Yeah. So if I were to say something to them, is to say that this is a multi-year, multi-election exercise. There's no magic number that we need to jump to. Yeah. And second is to vote. Young people being young have a long future, right? Many years ahead of them. So always vote with the long term in mind. Yeah. Vote for your future. Vote for people you can trust. Vote for the system that you can trust and can work for Singapore.
Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. I appreciate it. You've been extremely generous and insightful, and despite the fact that you actually pof-marked me by telling me that your English is not very good. Actually,
it's not pof-mark, you pof-mark me.
I pof-mark myself. No, but thank you for being on the show. Sincerely appreciate it. And good luck with the upcoming elections. Yeah. And hopefully...
I have a keen three-corner fight, right?
You have a keen one. You mentioned you expect a three-corner fight in Sembawang GRC. Those of you who've been tuning in, that was Minister of Health Ong Ye Kung making his debut on the Rishi Report. We hope to have him back in the future again. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening and for watching. We'll see you on our next episode.